What's up, Taiwan? I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. 3 Taiwanese military officers have been charged with providing national security information to China in exchange for paying back loans. It's another case in which current or former members of Taiwan's military have been prosecuted for spying for China. Chris Gorin reports.
A new scheme to attract spies for China. 3 active duty officers in Taiwan's military indicted for leaking national security information, allegedly handing it over to a man surnamed Huang, who was operating an illegal bank targeting financially vulnerable soldiers for loans. Unable to pay their debts, Huang offered to accept intel instead, which prosecutors say was then passed on to China. Huang himself remains on the run. It's another espionage case involving active or former military personnel, what authorities are calling an unfortunate trend.
那么少部分人因为利欲熏心背叛国家，这些行为是令国人不耻，也必须受到唾弃的。国军也会持恒的反情报教育跟速谍的专案清查。
哪些人会出入不良场所，会接触到相关的诱惑甚至于被掌握了小辫子，从此为中共所用他们都有一套的模式。
It's just one in a growing number of espionage cases involving members and veterans of Taiwan's military. Prosecutions for crimes related to spying for China have skyrocketed in recent years, from just 10 in 2022 to 64 last year, 2/3 of which involved current and former military personnel. In the early months of 2025, there have already been 2 other highly publicized cases. Those involved Taiwanese veterans who were paid not only to pass information to China, but were even planning armed attacks inside Taiwan to be carried out in the event of a Chinese invasion. Some experts say China's tactics are effective.
他可以布很多网嘛，然后这边收集一点，那边收集一点，然后他回去再整合分析，这样一定也有相当的情报价值啊。这个成本不会很高几万块、几十万，我看上百万的都不太可能。
As the number of spying cases involving service members continues to pile up, many are calling for more scrutiny of the vulnerabilities within Taiwan's military ranks. Joseph Wu and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Marines are being deployed to Taipei's Songshan Airport as the military works to bolster the capital's defense. It comes as the country reshapes its strategy amid growing threats from China. Jaime Okan reports.
Taiwan's military is revamping its defensive strategy for the capital, with a focus on strengthening security at Songshan Airport, the city's largest. On Wednesday, a military source revealed that Taiwan is deploying around 100 Marines to help boost security and protect the capital in the event of an attack from China.
Someone might actually try to take over from the airport down to the capital, and in that way take advantage of the geographic conditions of Taiwan, the positioning of neurologic centers of power, and the ability to reduce casualties and the possibility of escalation into a real fight.
China claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has threatened to invade the country to bring it under its control. This is why Taiwan's military has made coastal defense of its islands a key part of its defensive strategy. One of the key strategic areas is the Danshui River estuary, home to a major port. If China captured this area, its forces could then use the river to move troops further inland to Taipei and Songshan Airport. Last year, Taiwanese authorities intercepted several small boats piloted by Chinese defectors, making landfall and some undetected. That's why the military is reassessing its strategy.
之前就已经有这些快艇，它有尝试想要从淡水河口这边来去做一些突防，凸显的是今天我们在防御上面的话，可能必须要有一些调整。北部这一边，或许现在来看的话，会需要这海军陆战队的一个力量，它是快速反应部队。中共在这里有做一些快速突穿的状况。
Along with moving personnel, Taiwan's military is also reforming the 66th Marine Brigade, exchanging tanks and artillery in favor of advanced, more mobile drones. But analysts are skeptical that the changes will have a big impact.
But at the same time, I think we have to be careful not to be too much carried away with the enthusiasm of this type of new units being established, because the acquisition and procurement and the introduction of new field capabilities that are more technologically advanced in terms of drawing upon new available capabilities doesn't necessarily translate into effectiveness.
Marines have already started training on how to protect Songshan Airport, and the military has yet to comment on if this move is permanent. Every year, roughly 10 million passengers pass through Songshan Airport, which sits in the heart of the capital, making it a vital artery for connecting Taiwan with the rest of the world. While there are no signs of any imminent attack, the military here is doing everything it can to protect its center of power under any circumstances. Andy Xue and Jaime Okan in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
An Indian media report says the Indian state of Gujarat will set up an office in Taiwan. The report says the planned office in Taipei will help Taiwan semiconductor companies invest in Gujarat. This will be the first Indian state to set up an office in Taiwan. Last year, TSMC announced plans for an $11 billion semiconductor plant in Gujarat in partnership with India's Tata Group. South Korea's foreign ministry says it's blocking access to Chinese AI chatbot DeepSeek, citing security and data privacy concerns.
우리 부처는 관련 부처에서 전반적인 보안을 검토하는 가운데 외교부 차원에서 필요한 예방 조치를 취한 바 있습니다.
Several other ministries have also reportedly blocked the app. The country's Data Protection Authority announced an investigation into the company last week. Taiwan and Australia have also blocked DeepSeek from government devices. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order that would ban transgender women from competing in female sports. Before signing the order, Trump said that two competitors who won gold in women's boxing at the Olympics were men who transitioned, and the parent reference to Algerian boxer Iman Khalif and Taiwan's Lin Yuting. But both Khalif and Lin were assigned female at birth and have always competed as women. Taiwan Sports Administration maintains that Lin is not a transgender athlete and that the Olympic Committee has verified her eligibility to compete in women's boxing. An explosion inside a factory in Hsinchu has killed 2 employees and injured 19 others. According to a factory manager, the blast was caused by gas leaks inside some of its insulated pipes. Cadence Caranta reports.
Fire trucks and ambulances raced to this factory in Hsinchu after an explosion in the middle of the night.
目前的话，我们所了解是在大约凌晨3点左右的时候。 因为在我们的一些保温管路发生气体泄漏，而产生一个气爆，造成一个公安的意外。
The explosion so powerful that it killed 2 factory employees, with those injured rising from 14 now to 19, some with second-degree burns.
目前所知道的话，是有2位本国籍的员工罹难，总共有14位的话，包含有10位外籍的员工。 这个已经送到附近医院就医。
Hsinchu's county chief also rushed to the scene, providing more details about the cause.
那初步判断是这个道生原油的泄漏。
The fire caused by the explosion has been brought under control. It's the 5th blaze at this factory in 6 years, with some residents in the area telling CNA they fear the factory is a ticking time bomb as authorities investigate the cause of this latest explosion. Factory officials have apologized for the explosion and promised to provide support to the families of the employees who were killed. Ryan Wu and Cadence Caranta for TaiwanPlus.
2 people charged over their involvement in a deadly fire at a hospital in southern Taiwan have been released on bail. The honorary superintendent of Antai Hospital, Su Qingquan, and his brother, the director of general affairs, were charged with negligent homicide after the facility was found to have illegal construction issues. The fire broke out last October during the typhoon and killed 9 people. Su, the founder of the hospital, spoke at the Kuomintang Lunar New Year event in Pingdong. He expressed frustration over the charges against him.
既然会被被告，所以很厉害啊！但是呢，还是坚持医疗的使命啊，五味杂陈啊！不过我还是会勇敢的面对啊。
Prosecutors are still investigating the fire and have also brought charges against a plumber and a safety inspection agent. The Pacific island nation of Palau is known for its pristine seas and marine life, but as Rick Lauer reports, these waters are facing new and evolving threats.
Whenever 35-year-old government worker Dustin Blessum has time, he takes his boat out to sea around his island home, Palau. For Blessum and generations of Palauans before him, fishing this bountiful part of the West Pacific is an integral part of life here, a hobby that helps put food on his family's table. But he knows the future of these waters is not guaranteed.
I would like my kids to grow up and experience the same thing I have. Now, like today compared to many years ago, it's different. Everybody owns a boat, everybody owns a fishing line.
Palauans like Blessum are facing a fishing dilemma. Some 340 small islands here in the southwest Pacific make up the country Palau. By population, it's one of the smallest in the world, with just 18,000 people living here. But Palau's exclusive economic zone covers more than 600,000 square kilometers of Pacific Ocean, with some of the most biodiverse coral reefs in the world, home to grouper, snapper and tuna. For nearly 10 years, 80% of these waters have been off limits to fishing, but that soon could change. President Serangoon Whipps Jr., entering his second term in office, wants to open up his country's waters to fishing, diversifying Palau's tourism-dependent economy and giving his people access to more affordable seafood. It's an issue dividing the nation. Opponents say that the work of the last decade to rebuild marine resources could be undone.
We're working on putting all the registration information.
Diplomatic ally and fellow island nation Taiwan believes it has a solution to opening up fishing sustainably, helping to fix automatic identification systems onto Palau's fishing boats.
So we can see like every boat's activities in the coastal areas. And the second thing is that it comes with a geofencing feature, which we can lay out all the conservation areas or the protective areas in the coastal areas.
Illegal fishing and incursions coming from outside Palau are also becoming a headache for authorities here. There's been an uptick in unexplained fishing equipment and Chinese research vessels entering Palau's exclusive economic zone, or EEZ.
You know, we're a long ways from China, but to have ridges within our EEZ and on our continental shelf that have Chinese names on them because of those research vessels, to me is a threat to our territorial boundaries.
For President Whipps, activity like this is part of Chinese intimidation of his country for recognizing the sovereignty of Taiwan, which Beijing says is part of its territory. Despite pressure from China to drop diplomatic ties with Taipei, Palau says it will stick by Taiwan and face up to Chinese intimidation, but that it needs international help. Taiwan has its own experience fending off Chinese intimidation, with China Coast Guard boats increasingly entering its territorial waters. Knowledge it is now sharing with ally Palau.
Maritime security issues or Coast Guard patrol skills or programs is a common interest for all the island countries. Of course, we have several island country allies. So we can always take from our own experience, because we have a very comprehensive program in our Coast Guard, and our Coast Guard is willing, is always willing to cooperate in that front.
Life here in Palau is inseparable from the ocean that surrounds it, a coexistence with nature that has developed over centuries. But Palauans are now confronting the biggest challenges these pristine waters have faced in decades, as the geopolitical turmoil swirling around the region closes in on these tropical islands. Alex Chen and Rick Lauer in Koror, Palau for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Ethan. You'll take care, and I'll see you next time.